Okay, so in this video, I'm going to go ahead and read this Loser Warning Signs You're Dating a Loser article by Joseph M. Carver, PhD psychologist. And hopefully this will help my audience find healthy and stable relationships and avoid any unhealthy, borderline toxic, or even manipulative relationships. This article was published to the internet several years ago and was originally written to help identify losers in relationships. The email feedback I have received on the article has been tremendous. It's clear that the article is a way of identifying not only losers, but controlling, abusive, and manipulating individuals. It's also obvious these warning signs are not only found in dating relationships, but in our spouse, our parents, our friends, and our relatives. There are more victims in the environment of the loser than his or her partner. I have been contacted for help by the friends and loved ones of people involved in relationships with losers, controlling and or abusive partners. Loved ones want to understand the situation and ask for recommendations and guidance. For this group, I have recently published Love and Stockholm Syndrome: The Mystery of Loving an Abuser. A link to this article is found at the end of this page. Obviously, this article has created the need for sequels. I hope to publish a guide to assist losers who want to change their life and behavior. An article addressing sons and daughters who were parented by losers is also being planned. If our parent or parents have the characteristics listed in this article, our ability to function as a healthy adult may be hindered due to the dysfunctional family parent model. My goal is to follow this issue and provide help and guidance to all those involved with controlling and abusive individuals, from partners to extended victims. Introduction. Very few relationships start on terms other than sweetness and politeness. In the beginning, the honeymoon of the relationship, I'll do this whenever there's something in quotation marks, of the relationship, it's difficult to determine what type of individual you are dating. Both you and the date are guarded, trying to obtain information about the other as much as possible without seeming like a police detective. Romantic relationships can be wonderful with the right person. A relationship with the wrong individual, however, can lead to years of heartache. Yes, it can. Emotional and social damage. Yes, it can. And physical damage. Absolutely. A damaging adult partner can damage us, damage our loved ones, and even damage the way that we feel about love and romance in the future. They can turn what is supposed to be a loving, supporting, and understanding relationship into a fatal attraction, often described in movies. There are a variety of bad choices that may be encountered each week, most of which are easy to identify and avoid. We all know to avoid people that appear insane or abusive and not select them as a dating partner. However, some individuals are better at hiding their personality and behavior abnormalities. In an effort to provide some warning about these very damaging individuals, this paper will outline the type of individual commonly found in the dating scene, a male or female labeled the loser. The loser is a type of partner that creates much social, emotional, and psychological damage in a relationship. The loser has permanent personality characteristics that create this damage. These are characteristics that they accept simply as the way they are and not a problem or a psychological difficulty. In one sense, they have always lived with this personality and behavior, often something they probably learned from their relatives and family. Psychologists usually treat the victims of the loser, women or men, who arrive at the office severely depressed with their self-confidence or self-esteem totally destroyed. Been there. The following list is an attempt to outline the characteristics of the loser and provide a manner in which women and men can identify potentially damaging relationships before they are themselves severely damaged emotionally or physically. If your partner possesses even one of these features, there is a risk in the relationship. More than 3 of these indicators, and you are involved with the loser. My second relationship had over 12 of these characteristics. In a very high risk relationship that will eventually create damage to you. When a high number of these features are present, it's not the probability or possibility, it's not a probability or possibility you will get hurt, or you will be hurt or and damaged by the loser if you stay in the relationship. One, right off the bat, is also already applicable to my second relationship. Rough treatment. The loser will hurt you on purpose. If he or she hits you, twists your arm, pulls your hair, kicks you, shoves you, or breaks your personal property even once, drop them. Male losers often begin with behaviors that move you physically or hit the wall. Female losers often slap, kick, or even punch their male partners when upset. I can personally attest to that. I've experienced punches and slaps. Quick attachment and expression. The loser has very shallow emotions and connections with others. One of the things that might attract you to the loser is how quickly he or she says "I love you" or wants to marry or commit to you. Typically, in less than a few weeks of dating, you'll hear that you're the love of their life. They want to be with you forever, and they want to marry you. You'll receive gifts, a variety of promises, and be showered with their attention and nice gestures. This is the honeymoon phase, where they catch you and convince you that they are the best thing that ever happened to you. Remember the business saying, if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. You may be so overwhelmed by this display of instant attraction and instant commitment and instant planning for the future that you'll miss the major point. It doesn't make sense. Normal, healthy individuals require a long process to develop a relationship. I personally don't. I'm fairly quick, but I'm no loser. To develop a relationship because there is so much at stake. Healthy individuals will wait for a lot of information before offering a commitment, not 3 weeks. It's true that we can become, this second one also applies, by the way, infatuated with others quickly, but not make such unrealistic promises and have the future planned after 3 dates. The rapid warm-up is always a sign of shallow emotions, which later cause the loser to detach from you as quickly as they committed. The loser typically wants to move in with you or marry you in less than 4 weeks or very early in the relationship. This third one's also very applicable to my second ex, as are the next three on this page. So all this entire page applies to my second ex, which is scary. Frightening temper. The loser has a scary temper, very much so. If your boyfriend or girlfriend blows up or does dangerous things, like driving too fast because they're mad, breaking or throwing things, getting into fights, or threatening others, that temper will soon be turned in your direction. In the beginning of the relationship, you will be exposed to witnessed violence, fights with others, uh, toward threats towards others, angry outbursts at others, etc. You will also hear the violence in their life. Um, you will see and witness this temper, throwing things, yelling, cursing, driving fast, hitting the walls, and kicking things. That quickly serves to intimidate you and fear their potential for violence, although the loser quickly assures you that they are angry at others or situations, not at you. At first, you will be assured that they will never direct the hostility or violence at you, and I was. It was a lie. Um, but they are clearly letting you know that have the ability and capability, and that it might come your way. Later, you fear challenging or confronting them, fearing that same temper and violence will be turned in your direction. 4. Killing your self-confidence. The loser repeatedly puts you down. Yes. They constantly correct your slight mistakes, making you feel on guard, unintelligent, and leaving you with the feeling that you are always doing something wrong. They tell you that you're too fat, too unattractive, or don't talk correctly or look well. This gradual chipping away at your confidence and self-esteem allows them to later treat you badly, as though you deserved it. In public, you will be walking on eggshells, always fearing that you are doing or saying something that will later create a temper outburst or verbal argument. I've experienced both of those types of things combined. 5. Cutting off your support. In order to control someone completely, you must cut off their supportive friends, sometimes even their family. The loser feels your friends and family might influence you or offer negative opinions about their behavior. The loser begins by telling you that these friends treat you badly, take advantage of you, and don't understand the special nature of the love you share with them. In some cases, if they can't get rid of your best same-sex friends, the loser will claim he or she made a pass at them. If you talk to your friends or family, the loser will punish you by asking multiple questions and making nasty accusations. Yeah. Eventually, rather than face the verbal punishment, interrogation, and abuse, you'll develop the feeling that it's better not to talk to family and friends. You will withdraw from friends and family, prompting them to become upset with you. The loser then tells you that they are treating you badly again, and you'd be better to keep your distance from them. Once you're isolated and alone without support, their control over you can increase, and it did. The mean and sweet cycle. The loser cycles from mean to sweet and back again. The cycle starts when they are intentionally hurtful or mean. You may be verbally abused, yep, cursed, or even threatened over something minor. Suddenly, the next day, they become sweet, doing all the little things they did when you started dating. You hang on, hoping each mean then sweet cycle is the last one. The other purpose of the mean cycle is to allow the loser to say very nasty things about you or those you care about, again chipping away at your self-esteem and self-confidence. The loser often apologizes for the damage to your self-esteem, but the damage to your self-esteem is already done, exactly as planned. This next one is also applicable, as is trait number 9. It's always your fault. The loser blames you for their anger as well as any other behavior that is incorrect. When they cheat on you, yell at you, treat you badly, damage your property, or embarrass you publicly, it's somehow your fault. If you're 10 minutes late for a date, it's your fault. That the male loser drives 80 miles per hour, runs people off the road, and pouts the rest of the evening. The loser tells you that their anger and misbehavior would not have happened if you had not made some simple mistake, had loved them more, or had not questioned their behavior. The loser never, repeat, never takes personal responsibility for their behavior. It's always the fault of someone else. If they drive like a maniac and try to pull an innocent driver off the highway to assault them, it's actually the fault of the other driver, not his, as they didn't use a turn signal when they changed lanes. They give you the impression that that you had it, meaning anger, yelling, or assault, coming and deserved the anger, violence, pouting, or physical display of aggression. Breakup panic. The loser panics at the idea of breaking up. Unless it's totally their idea, then you're dropped like a hot rock. Abusive boyfriends often break down and cry. They plead, they promise to change, and they offer marriage trips and or gifts when you threaten ending a relationship. Both male and female losers may threaten suicide, threaten to return to old sweethearts who who feel lucky they're gone, and threaten to quit their job to leave the area, as though you will be responsible for those decisions. The loser offers a multitude of deals and halfway measures like, let's just date one more month. Then they shower you with phone calls, often every 5 minutes, hoping that you will make an agreement or see them just to stop the telephone harassment. Some call your relatives, your friends, their friends, and anyone else they can think of, telling those people to call you and tell you how much they love you. Creative losers often create so much social pressure that the victim agrees to go back to the bad relationship rather than continue under the social pressure. Imagine trying to end a relationship and receiving tearful calls from all his or her relatives. They secretly hope you'll keep them so they don't have to. Seeing a plea for your return in the newspaper or even on a local billboard, receiving flowers at work each day, or even or having them arrive at your place of work and offer you a wedding ring, male loser technique, or inform you that they might be pregnant, female loser technique, in front of your coworkers. Their reaction is emotionally intense, a behavior that they use to keep you an emotional prisoner. If you go back to them, you actually fear a worse reaction if you threaten to leave again, making you a prisoner. And they later frequently recall the incident to you as further evidence of what a bad person you are. Remember, if your prize dog jumps the fence and escapes, if you get him back, you build a higher fence. Once back in the grasp of the loser, escape will be 3 times as difficult as the next time. Trait 9 here is also very applicable to my second X. No outside interests. The loser will encourage you to drop your hobbies, interests, and involvement with others. If you have an individual activity, they demand that they accompany you, making you feel miserable during the entire activity. The idea behind this is to prevent you from having fun or interests other than those which they totally control. 10, 12, and 13 on this page are also applicable to my past situation. Paranoid control. The loser will check up on you and keep track of where you are and who you are with. If you speak to a member of the opposite sex, you receive 20 questions about how you know them. If you don't answer their phone call, you are asked where you were, what you were doing, and who you were talking to, etc. They will notice the type of mud on your car, question why you shop certain places, and question why you called a friend, why the friend called you, and so forth. Some losers follow you to the grocery store, then later ask if you've been there in an attempt to catch you in a lie. In severe cases, they go through your mail, look through your purse or wallet, hit your redial on the phone when they arrive, or search through your garbage for evidence. High-tech losers may encourage you to make private calls to friends from their residence, calls that are being secretly taped and for later reference. They may begin to tell you that what to wear, what to listen to in music, and how to behave in public. Eventually, they tell you that you cannot talk to certain friends or acquaintances, go certain places, or talk about certain issues in public. If no date is present on Friday night, the loser will inform you that they will call you that night sometime. That effectively keeps you home, awaiting the call, fearing the verbal abuse and questions you might receive if you weren't home for the call. This technique allows the loser to do what they want socially and at the same time controlling your behavior from a distance or a local bar. Public harassment or embarrassment. This one I did not experience. In an effort to keep you under control while in public, the loser will lash out at you, call you names, or say cruel and embarrassing things about you in private or in front of people. When in public, you quickly learn that any opinion you express may cause them to verbally attack you, either at the time or later. If you stay with the loser too long, you'll soon find yourself politely smiling, saying nothing, or holding on to their arm when in public. You'll also find yourself walking with your head down, fearful of seeing a friend who might speak to you or create an angry reaction in the loser. These next two are applicable to my situation, my past situation. It's never enough. The loser convinces you that you are never quite good enough. You don't say I love you enough. You don't stand close enough. You don't do enough for them after all their sacrifices, and your behavior always falls short of what is expected. This is another method of destroying your self-esteem and confidence. After months of this technique, they begin telling you how lucky you are to have them, somebody who tolerates someone so inadequate and worthless as you. I've experienced both of those last two statements several times. Entitlement. The loser has a tremendous sense of entitlement. The attitude that they have a perfectly logical right to do whatever they desire. If cut off in traffic, the loser feels they have a right to run the other driver off the road, assault them, and endanger the lives of other drivers with their temper tantrum. Keep in mind, this same sense of entitlement will be used against you. If you disobey their desires or demands or violate one of their rules, that they feel they are entitled to punish you in a manner they see fit. Your friends and families dislike him or her. As a relationship begins or continues, your friends and family see what the loser is doing to you. They will notice the change in your personality or your withdrawal. They will protest. They will protest. The loser will tell you they are jealous of the special love you have, and then use their protest and opinion as further evidence that they are against you, not him or her. The mention of your family members and friends will spark an angry response from them, eventually placing you in a situation where you stop talking about those you care about, even your own family members. The loser will be jealous and threatened by anyone you're you're close to, even your children. In some cases, your parents or brothers and sisters will not be allowed to visit your home. Bad stories. Another one that's applicable as is the next one and part of 17, but not all of it. And then 18 is applicable. Bad stories. People often let you know about their personality by the stories they tell about themselves. It's the old story about giving a person enough rope and they'll hang themselves. The stories a person tells informs you of how they see themselves, what they think is interesting, and what they think will impress you. A humorous individual will tell funny stories about him or herself. The, the loser tells stories of violence, aggression, being insensitive to others, rejecting others, etc. Um, they may tell you about past relationships, and in every case, they assure you that were treated horribly despite how wonderful they were to that person. They brag about their temper and outbursts because they don't see anything wrong with violence and actually take pride in the I I don't take nothing from nobody attitude. People define themselves with their stories, much like a culture is described by its folklore or legends. Listen to these stories. They tell you how you will eventually be treated and what's coming your way. The waitress test. It's been said that when dating, the way an individual treats a waitress or other neutral person of the opposite sex is the way they will treat you in 6 months. During the honeymoon phase of a relationship, you will be treated like a king or queen. However, during that time, the loser has not forgotten about how he or she basically feels about the opposite sex. Um, Waitresses, clerks, and other neutral individuals will be treated badly. If they are cheap, you, you'll never receive anything once the honeymoon is over. If if they whine, complain, or criticize, which are applicable to me, or torment, that's how they'll treat you in 6 months. A mentally healthy person is consistent. They treat almost all people the same way, the same way all the time. If you find yourself dating a man or woman who treats you like a king or queen, and other females like dirt, hit the road, or other males like dirt. The reputation. As mentioned, mentally healthy individuals are consistent with their personality and their behavior. The loser may have two distinct reputations. a group of individuals who will give you glowing reports, and a group who will warn you that are in serious trouble. If you ask 10 people about a new restaurant, 5 would say it's wonderful and 5 say it's a hog pit. You clearly understand that there's some risk involved in eating there. The loser may actually brag about their reputation as a butt kicker, womanizer, hot temper, or being crazy. Um, yes, yes, they do. They may tell you stories where others have called them crazy or suggested that they receive professional help. Pay attention to the reputation. Reputation is the public perception of an individual's behavior. If the reputation has two sides, good and bad, your risk is high. You will be dealing with the bad side once the honeymoon is over in the relationship. With severe behavior problems, the loser will be found to have almost no friends, just acquaintances. Emotionally healthy and moral individuals will not tolerate friendships with losers that treat others so badly. If you find yourself disliking the friends of the loser, it's because they operate the same way he or she does, and you can see it in them. Walking on eggshells. As a relationship with the loser continues, you will gradually be exposed to verbal intimidation. Very much so. Temper tantrums. Yep. Lengthy interrogations about trivial matters. Violence. Oh, yeah. Threats directed at others, but witnessed by you. Paranoid preoccupation with your activities. And a variety of put downs on your character. You will quickly find yourself walking on eggshells in their presence. This part was applicable to when my second ex-girlfriend saw me with my first ex. Fearing to bring up topics, fearful to mention that you spoke to or saw a friend, my first ex, in other words, and fearful to question or criticize the behavior of the loser. Instead of experiencing the warmth and comfort of love, you'll be constantly on edge. Oh yeah, big time. Tense when talking to others. They might say something that you'll have to explain later, and fearful that you'll see someone you'll have to greet in public. Dates and times together will be more comfortable and less threatening when totally alone. Exactly what the loser wants. No interference with their control or dominance. 19 is also applicable here. Discounted feelings or opinions. The loser is so self-involved and self-worshipping that the feelings and opinions of others are considered worthless. As the relationship continues, you begin to question what you're feeling or seeing in their behavior. You will be told that your feelings and opinions don't make sense, they're silly, and that you are emotionally disturbed to even think such things. The loser has no interest in your opinion or your feelings, but they will be disturbed and upset that you dare question their behavior. The loser is extremely hostile toward criticism and often reacts with anger and rage when their behavior is questioned. This last one, I think a segment of it applies, but not the whole thing, to my second relationship. They make you crazy. The loser operates in such a damaging way that you find yourself doing crazy things in self-defense. If the loser is scheduled to arrive at 8 o'clock, you call time and temperature to cover the redial. Check your garbage for anything that might get you in trouble, and call your family and friends to tell them not to call you that night. You warn family and friends not to bring up certain topics, avoid locations in the community where you might see coworkers and friends, and not speak to others for fear of the 20 questions. You've become paranoid as well, being careful of what you wear and say. Nonviolent males find themselves in physical fights with female losers. Nonviolent females find themselves yelling and screaming when they can no longer take the verbal abuse or intimidation. This is the part that's applicable from this paragraph to my previous relationship. In emotional and physical self-defense, we behave differently, and oddly, um, while we think we are going crazy, it's important to remember that there is no such thing as normal behavior in a combat situation. Rest assured that your behavior will return to normal if you detach from the loser before permanent psychological damage is done. Dangerous versions of the loser. There are more severe, if not dangerous, versions of the loser that have been identified over the years. If you are involved in a relationship with one of these variations, you may require professional and legal assistance to save yourself. Physical abuser. Very much my second relationship, or second ex. Physical abusers begin the relationship with physical moving, shoving, pushing, forcing, etc. That quickly moves into verbal threats, which I got on the reg, with physical gestures. The finger in the face, clenched fist in the face, and voiced physical threats such as, "You make me want to break your face," which I've heard once or twice. Eventually, these combine to form actual physical abuse. Hitting, which is applicable, slapping, and kicking. The loser is always sorry the next day and begins the mean then sweet cycle all over again. Getting away from physical abusers often requires the assistance of family, law enforcement agencies, and local abuse agencies. Female losers often physically attack their partner, break car windows, or behave with such violence that the male partner is forced to physically protect himself from the assault. The female loser is bruised in the process of self-protection, as when physically restrained by her from hitting. Those bruises are then displayed to others as evidence of what a bad person the partner is and how abusive they have been in the relationship. Psychotic losers. Part of this is also applicable to my second ex-girlfriend. There are losers that are severely ill in a psychiatric sense. The movie description of The Fatal Attraction, which I have seen, it's actually quite a good movie. Definitely check it out in correspondence to this video. Some may tell you wild stories or try to convince you that they are connected to the mob or a government agency, CIA, FBI, etc. They may fake terminal illness, pregnancy, or disease. They intimidate and frighten you with comments such as, "I can have anyone killed," or "No one leaves a relationship with me." If you try to end the relationship, they react violently and give you the impression that you, your friends, or your family are in serious danger. People often then remain in the abusive and controlling relationship due to the fear of harm to their family and their reputation. When such fears are unrealistic, as the loser is only interested in controlling you, yes, these fears feel very real when combined with the other characteristics of the loser. Psychiatric and psych and uh, uh, psychotic and psychiatric losers. I might not be pronouncing that second word correctly. I'll show it on screen just in case. I don't know how that's pronounced. Ill losers may also stalk, follow, or harass you. They may often abuse. All right. They may threaten physical violence, show weapons like knives. Not that well, I was cut by my second ex, but it wasn't. I wasn't the target per se. She was just swinging a knife around like a mad lady. Um, uh, or, or threaten to kill you or themselves if you leave them. If you try to date others, they may follow you and threaten your new date. Your new date may be subject to phone harassment, vandalism, threats, and even physical assaults. If you are recently divorced, separated, or recently ended another relationship, the loser may be um, intimidating toward your ex-partner, fearing you might return in the other if the other partner is not scared off. Just remember, everything the loser has ever done to anyone will be coming your way. The loser may send you pictures of you, your children, or your family, pictures they have taken secretly, hinting that they can reach out and touch those you love. You may need help in legal action to separate from these individuals. Guidelines for detachment. Separating from the loser often involves 3 stages: the detachment, ending the relationship, and the follow-up protection. The detachment. During this part of the separating from the loser, you recognize what you must do and create an exit plan. Many individuals fail in attempts to detach from the loser because they leave suddenly and impulsively, without proper planning and without resources. In many cases, the loser has isolated their partner from others, has control of finances, um, or has control of major exit needs, such as an automobile. During the detachment phase, you should observe the way you were treated. Watch for the methods listed above and see how the loser works. Gradually become more boring, talk less, share less feelings and opinions. The goal is almost to bore the loser to lessen the emotional attachment, at the same time not creating a situation that would make you a target. Quietly contact your family and supportive others. Determine what help they might be, a place to stay, protection, financial help, etc. If you fear violence or abuse, check your local legal or law enforcement options, such as a restraining order. If the loser is destructive, slowly move your valuables from the home if together, and try to recover valuables in their possession. In many cases, you may lose some personal items during your detachment, a small price to pay to get rid of the loser. Stop arguing, debating, or discussing issues. Stop defending or explaining yourself, responding with comments such as, "I've been so confused lately," or "I'm under so much stress, I don't know what I can do anymore. What I do anymore. Anything anymore. Yeah, why I do anything." Words are hard. Um, Begin dropping hints that you are depressed, burned out, or confused about life in general. Remember, the loser never takes responsibility for what happens in a relationship. The loser will feel better about leaving the relationship if they can blame it on you. Many individuals are forced to play confused and dull, allowing the loser to tell others, "My girlfriend or boyfriend about half nuts is about half nuts." They may tell others you're crazy or confused, but you'll be safer. Allow them to think anything they want about you as long as you're in the process of detaching. Don't start another relationship. That will only complicate your situation and increase the anger. Your best bet is to lay low for several months. Remember, the loser will quickly locate another victim and become instantly attached as long as the focus on you is allowed to die down. As the loser starts to question changes in your behavior, admit confusion, depression, emotional numbness, and a host of other boring reactions. This sets the foundation for ending the relationship, ending of the relationship, ending the relationship. Remember that the loser doesn't accept responsibility, responds to anger with anger to criticism, and is prone to panic detachment reactions. Ending the relationship continues the same theme as the detachment. Explain that you're emotionally numb, confused, and burnt out. You can't feel anything for anybody, and you want to end the relationship almost for his or her benefit. Remind them that they've probably noticed something is wrong, and that you need time to sort out your feelings and fix whatever is wrong with you. As disgusting as it may seem, you may have to use a theme of, "I'm not right for anyone at this point in my life." If the loser can blame the end on you, as they would if they ended the relationship anyway, they would depart faster. If the loser panics, you receive a shower of phone calls, letters, notes on your car, etc. React to each in the same manner. A boring thanks. If you overreact or give in, you lose control again. Focus on your need for time from the situation. Don't agree to the many negotiations that will be offered. Date less frequently. Dating only once a week. Taking a break for only a week. Going to counseling together, etc. As long as the loser has contact with you, they feel there is a chance to manipulate you. The loser will focus on making you feel guilty. In each phone contact, you'll hear how much you are loved, how much was done for you, and how much they have sacrificed for you. At the same time, you'll hear about what a bum you are for leading them on and not giving them an opportunity to fix things and embarrassing them by ending the relationship. Don't try to make them understand how you feel. It won't happen. The loser only is concerned with how they feel. Your feelings are irrelevant. I've felt that. You will be wasting your time trying to make them understand, and they will see the discussions as an opportunity to make you feel more guilty and manipulate you. Don't fall for sudden changes in behavior or promises of marriage, trips, gifts, etc. By this time, you have already seen how the loser is normally and naturally. While anyone can change for a short period of time, they always return to their normal behavior once the crisis is over. Seek professional counseling for yourself or the support of others during this time. You will need encouragement and guidance. Keep in mind, if the loser finds out you are seeking help, they will criticize the counseling, the therapist, or the effort. Don't use terms like someday, maybe, or in the future when the loser has hears such possibilities. They think you are weakening and you will increase their pressure. Imagine a dead slot machine. If you're in Las Vegas at a slot machine and pull the handle 10 times and nothing happens, we move on to another machine. However, if on the 10th time the slot machine pays us even a little, we keep pulling the handle, thinking the jackpot is on the way. If we are very stern and stable about the decision to end the relationship over many days, pressure will continue. Oh wait. Then suddenly offer a possibility of hope and reconciliation, we've given a little pay, and the pressure will continue. Never change your position. Always say the same thing. The loser will stop playing the machine that doesn't pay off and quickly move to another. Follow-up protection. The loser never sees their responsibility or involvement in the difficulties in the relationship. From a psychological standpoint, the loser has lived and behaved in this manner most of their life, clearly all of their adult life, as they really don't see themselves at fault or as an individual with a problem. The loser tends to think that the girlfriend or boyfriend is simply going through a phase. Their partner slash victim might be temporarily mixed up in or confused. They might be listening to the wrong person, or they might be angry about something and will get over it soon. The loser rarely detaches completely and will often try to continue contact with the partner even after the relationship is terminated. During the follow-up protection period, some guidelines are: never change up your original position. It's over permanently. Don't talk about possible changes in your position in the future. You might think that that will calm the loser, but it only tells them that the possibilities still exist and only a little more pressure is needed to return to the relationship. Don't agree to meetings or reunions to discuss old times. For the loser, discussing old times is actually a way to upset you, put you off guard, and use the guilt to hook you again. Don't offer details about your new life or relationship. Assure him that or her that both his or her life and your life are now private and that you hope they are happy. If you start feeling guilty during a phone call, get off the phone fast. More people return to bad marriages and relationships due to the guilt than anything else. If you listen to those phone calls and as though taping them, you'll find the loser spends most of the call trying to make you feel guilty. If any contact with the ex-loser, provide only a status report, much like you'd provide to your Aunt Gladys's. For example, I'm still working hard and not getting any better at tennis. That's about it. When the loser tells you how difficult the breakup has been, share with them some general thoughts about breaking up and how finding the right person is difficult. While the loser wants to focus on your relationship, talk in terms of Ann Landers. Well, breaking up is hard on everyone. Dating is tough in these times. I'm sure we'll eventually find someone that's right for both of us. Remember, nothing personal. Keep all contact short and sweet. The shorter, the better. As far as the loser is concerned, you're always on your way somewhere. There's something in the microwave, or your mother is walking up the steps to your home. Wish the loser well, but always with the same tone of voice. that you might offer to someone you just talked to at the grocery store. For phone conversations, electronic companies make a handy gadget that produces about 20 seconds a doorbell, an oven or microwave alarm, a knock at the door, etc. That little device is handy to use on the phone. The microwave dinner just came out or someone is at the door. Do whatever you have to keep the conversation short and not personal. Summary. In all of our relationships throughout life, we will meet a variety of individuals with many different personalities. Some are a joy to have in our life, and some provide us with lifelong love and security. Others we meet pose some risk to us and our future due to their personality and attributes. Both in medicine and in mental health, the key to health is the early identification and treatment of problems before they reach the point that they are beyond treatment. In years of psychotherapy and counseling practice, threatening or treating the victims of the loser patterns of attitude and behavior emerge in the loser that can now be listed and identified in the hopes of providing early identification and warning. When these signs and indicators surface and the partner is identified, we must move quickly to get away from the situation. Continuing a relationship with the loser will result in a relationship that involves intimidation, fear, anger, outbursts, paranoid control, and a total loss of self-esteem and self-confidence. If you have been involved in a long-term relationship with the loser, after you successfully escape, you may notice that you have sustained some psychological damage. Very much so. Very much so. Very much so. That will require professional repair. In many cases, the stress has been so severe that you may have stress-produced depression. You may have severe damage to your self-confidence or self-esteem, or to your feelings about the opposite sex or relationships. Psychologists and psychiatrists, social workers, and counselors are available in your community to assist and guide you as you recover from your damaging relationship with the loser. Joseph M. Carver, PhD psychologist. Credit. This handout was written by Joseph M. Carver, PhD, a clinical psychologist. It is provided as a public service and can be reproduced as needed. Dr. Carver is in private practice in Southern Ohio. New article. For the family and friends of individuals involved in a relationship with a loser, I've written an article that discusses the relationships from the outside view. It may help family and friends understand the relationship and provide help in a positive manner. The article entitled Love and Stockholm Syndrome: The Mystery of Loving an Abuser. It can be found at this link, Love and Stockholm Syndrome. Right here. I'll try to get that clear. There we go. So those are the warning signs that one is dating a male or female loser. As you can tell, I've experienced many of those various traits and have only recently, after 8 years, undone all of that, or most of, if not all of that, at least emotional side of the damage. The psychological damage is still in effect, kind of, but the emotional has been repaired. So, yeah. Hopefully you find this video helpful, and I encourage you to read this article for yourself, as well as the other article it referenced there at the end. I have not checked out that other article, but it sounds like it is also extremely helpful. And I will catch you in the next video.